Have you ever met someone who feels like a mirror? They understand you deeply. They sense your mood before you speak. They adjust their tone. Their energy shifts. It feels natural, almost magical. But here is the question. If they are always adjusting to you, who are they when no one is watching? This is the hidden truth about the INFJ personality type. The rarest type in the world, according to the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator System. Calm, wise, empathic, but also guarded, layered, strategic. Today we explore why INFJs are masters in masking, and the dark side of the INFJ mind. Stay with me, because what you are about to hear may change how you see the INFJ forever. 1. The quiet observer. INFJs are natural observers. They do not rush into spaces. They enter slowly, almost invisibly. They feel the room before they speak. They sense the emotional temperature. Warm, cold, tense, heavy. They notice who avoids eye contact, who laughs too loudly, who forces a smile, who is shrinking into silence. They see the lonely one, the insecure one, the dominant one, the one pretending to be fine. Their mind is calm on the surface, but active underneath. They read micro-expressions. A flicker of doubt, a flash of irritation, a brief sadness behind a smile. They hear voice shifts, a tone that tightens, a pause that lingers too long. They observe body language, crossed arms, restless fingers, feet angled toward the exit. This is not manipulation. It is instinct. INFJs are guided by introverted intuition, a concept explored deeply by Carl Jung. Jung described intuition as a quiet perception of patterns beneath reality, connections that others miss, meaning hidden between words. INFJs live in those patterns. They see cycles in behavior, repeated emotional habits, unspoken motives. They see what is not said, what is implied, what is suppressed. They sense long-term outcomes. If this friendship continues like this, it will break. If this leader keeps acting this way, conflict will rise. If this person is not heard, resentment will grow. They feel these futures before they arrive. And because they see so much, they learn something early in life. When you understand people deeply, you become aware of how easily you can be judged. Being fully seen is risky, because if others saw the depth, the intensity, the constant analysis, they might not understand it. So the observer stays quiet, watching, learning, collecting emotional data. 2. Why INFJs learn to mask. Masking does not begin as deception. It begins as protection. Many INFJs grow up feeling different. They ask big questions too early. Why are we here? Why do people hurt each other? What is the purpose of this? While others focus on trends, games, surface conversations, the INFJ is thinking about meaning. They are called sensitive, too emotional, too serious, too deep. So they learn to adjust. They lower their intensity. They simplify their thoughts. They edit their truth. When they speak about meaning, and the room goes silent, they remember that feeling. When they show strong emotion, and someone calls them dramatic, they remember that too. So they adapt. They soften their opinions. They filter their honesty. They laugh at jokes they do not enjoy. They nod when they disagree. They smile when they feel misunderstood. Not because they are fake, but because they value harmony. In personality theory, especially within the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator framework, INFJs are described as idealistic and peace-seeking. Emotional peace matters to them. Conflict is not just uncomfortable, it is draining. It lingers in their mind long after it ends. They replay it, analyze it, feel it again. So the social mask forms. Calm, polite, diplomatic, approachable, a composed exterior. But underneath, their mind is scanning. Why did she save that? What did he mean by that tone? Is there tension building? How can this be resolved quietly? While others relax, the INFJ calculates emotional balance. 3. The empath advantage. INFJs are often called empaths. They do not just understand emotions. They absorb them. Walk into a room filled with stress. and their chest tightens. Sit beside someone grieving, and their energy drops. If you are anxious, their thoughts speed up. If you are sad, they feel heavy. Sometimes they do not know where their emotion ends and yours begins. So they adjust. They lower their voice. If you are overwhelmed, they slow their speech. If you are anxious, they brighten their tone. If you need encouragement, they mirror your rhythm, your vocabulary, your emotional pace. They become what you need in that moment. This makes them incredible listeners. People open up to them quickly. Secrets spill out. Confessions unfold. They are trusted confidants, emotional translators, quiet healers. But here is the shadow. When you constantly mirror others, you begin to disappear. If every interaction requires adjustment, where is your original shape? The mask becomes automatic. They no longer decide to adapt. It just happens. Voice changes. Posture shifts. Opinions soften. And one day, in a quiet moment alone, the INFJ feels something unsettling. A question rising slowly. Who am I when I am not reflecting someone else? Which version is the real one? The playful one? The serious one? The spiritual one? The logical one? They are all real, yet none feel complete. This is the hidden cost of high empathy. 4. The social chameleon. In personality psychology, INFJs are often described as paradoxical. They can appear extroverted in small, meaningful groups, engaged, expressive, even charismatic. But place them in a loud crowd, and they grow quiet. Observing again. With close friends, they are playful, sarcastic, warm. In deep conversation, they are intense, focused, philosophical. People become confused. Are they introverts? Are they extroverts? The truth is quieter. They are strategic. INFJs read the room and select the most harmonious version of themselves. If a group needs enthusiasm, they provide energy. If a space needs calm, they become still. They blend into creative circles, discussing art and symbolism. They fit into academic spaces, exploring ideas and theories. They move comfortably in spiritual communities, talking about purpose and growth. They can survive in corporate environments, adapting to structure and expectations. They study the unspoken rules. Who holds power here? What is valued? What is judged? Then they adjust. It looks effortless, natural, fluid. But inside, it requires constant awareness, constant self-editing. After social events, they often feel drained, not because they dislike people, but because they were performing subtle calculations the entire time. 5. The fear of rejection. One of the deepest reasons INFJs master masking is their fear of emotional rejection. They do not crave surface attention. They crave depth. They want to be understood at the core. Not admired, not praised, understood. They long for soul-level connection. Conversations that stretch for hours. Moments of silent mutual knowing. But they fear being misunderstood. Because when they reveal their inner world, it is layered, intense, complex. If someone responds with confusion, mockery, or indifference, the wound is quiet but deep. It feels like their essence was dismissed. So they become careful. They reveal only fragments. A thought here, a feeling there. They observe your reaction closely. Did you lean in? Did you change the subject? Did you laugh uncomfortably? They test your emotional depth slowly. If you respond with empathy, they share a little more. If you fail the test, the mask remains. Polite, controlled, surface level. If you pass, you meet a different INFJ. Warmer, more intense, more vulnerable. They speak about fears, dreams, childhood wounds, big visions for the future. Very few people reach this level, because trust, for an INFJ, is sacred. 6. The strategic mind. INFJs are not naive. Their softness is often mistaken for innocence. But beneath it is calculation. They think several steps ahead. Their intuition runs silent simulations. If I confront them directly, they might react defensively. If I wait and gather more context, I will understand better. If I reveal this now, it could shift the dynamic permanently. It feels like chess played in the mind. They map emotional consequences long before words are spoken. This makes them excellent planners. They see vision beyond the present. They anticipate obstacles. They sense hidden resistance. They make thoughtful counselors, careful writers, strategic leaders. But this same ability allows them to manage impressions skillfully. They know how they appear: quiet, kind, insightful. They can lean into that image. They know when to remain mysterious, when to speak, when to stay silent. They know how to avoid revealing weakness, not through lies, but through omission. This is where masking becomes art. It is subtle, controlled, intentional. 7. The dark side of the INFJ mind. Now the deeper layer. Masking, over time, creates distance. If an INFJ feels betrayed, they rarely explode in chaos. They go quiet. The warmth fades first. They observe more, speak less. They detach internally. And sometimes, they enact what online communities call the INFJ door slam. A sudden emotional cutoff. Cold. Final. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just complete withdrawal. Because once trust is broken, their internal decision is firm. The mask that once protected becomes a wall. Access denied. This is the shadow side. The same empathy that makes them loving also makes them hyper-aware of manipulation. They notice inconsistencies, false promises, subtle disrespect. They track patterns quietly, and once they conclude that someone is unsafe, they disappear emotionally. No argument, no scene, just silence. 8. Identity fragmentation. Long-term masking has consequences. At first, it feels harmless. Just small adjustments, small edits, small silences. But over time, those edits multiply. INFJs may begin to struggle with identity confusion. They are one version at home, another with friends, another at work. With parents, they may be the calm mediator, the responsible one, the quiet listener. With friends, they may be playful, witty, deep at unexpected moments. At work, they may be strategic, professional, focused and visionary. Each version feels real in the moment. Each carries truth, but none feel complete. It is like living in fragments, pieces of a whole self, scattered across environments. This creates internal tension. After social interactions, they sometimes sit alone and reflect. Which one was me? Was I genuine? Or was I adapting again? They crave authenticity deeply. Authenticity is not a trend for them. It is survival. They want alignment, inner and outer harmony, but they fear exposure. Because full exposure means being seen without filters, without edits, without protection. And what if that version is misunderstood, rejected, labeled as too much? They want to be known, fully known, but they fear being misunderstood more than almost anything. This paradox defines much of the INFJ personality: the longing for deep connection, and the instinct to self-protect, the desire to remove the mask, and the fear of what happens after. So they hover in between, half revealed, half hidden. 9. The high-functioning mask. Some INFJs channel their masking into achievement. They become high performers. They build meaningful careers, lead teams with quiet strength, inspire others with insight and empathy. They appear composed, clear, vision-driven. In leadership roles, they often see what others miss: future trends, emotional undercurrents, long-term risks. They speak with calm authority. They offer guidance. They mentor quietly. From the outside, they look confident, grounded, certain. Inside, the story can be different. They may feel overwhelmed. Their mind rarely rests. It replays conversations, evaluates decisions, predicts consequences. The mask of competence hides deep self-doubt. Did I say the right thing? Did I miss something important? Could I have handled that better? INFJs often hold impossibly high standards, not just for others, but especially for themselves. They want to improve the world, even in small ways. They want their work to matter, their words to heal, their presence to bring clarity. They chase purpose more than praise. And if they fall short of their own vision, they blame themselves quietly. They do not always ask for reassurance. They internalize the disappointment. On the outside, they remain steady. On the inside, they recalibrate relentlessly. 10. Why they rarely reveal the dark side. INFJs are deeply aware of morality. They think about right and wrong often, about impact, about consequences. They analyze their own thoughts carefully, even the darker ones. Jealousy, anger, resentment, envy. They do not deny these emotions. They notice them, study them, question them. Why did I feel that? What triggered it? What does it reveal about me? But they rarely show these emotions openly. They believe expressing them might hurt others, or damage emotional harmony. And harmony matters to them deeply. So they internalize. They process alone. They journal, reflect, walk in silence. They try to understand their shadow before it leaks outward. But suppressed emotions do not disappear. They settle into the body, into the subconscious. They accumulate quietly, and sometimes, under stress, they surface unexpectedly. A sharp comment, an uncharacteristic coldness, a sudden withdrawal. Others are surprised. But the INFJ has been carrying that weight for a long time. The dark side of the INFJ mind is not loud. It is contained. Until it is not. 11. Breaking the mask. For an INFJ to remove the mask requires safety. Not one moment of kindness. Not one deep conversation. Consistent safety. Predictable respect. Emotional steadiness. Honest communication. They need proof. Repeated proof. That you can handle their depth, their intensity, their contradictions. They will test gently. They might reveal a vulnerable story, a painful memory, a controversial opinion. Then they watch. Do you judge? Do you dismiss? Do you weaponize it later? If you respond with patience and empathy, the walls soften. When they truly trust you, something shifts. They become radically honest, raw in their reflections, philosophical in their thoughts, emotionally transparent in a way few people ever see. They speak about their fears, their childhood wounds, their biggest dreams. It feels like discovering a hidden ocean beneath calm water. What looked still and simple suddenly reveals depth without end. So why are INFJs masters in masking? Because they see too much. They see motives behind words, patterns behind behavior, future outcomes behind present actions. They feel too much. Their nervous system absorbs emotion like a sponge. Their heart registers subtle shifts instantly. They understand too much. They connect dots others ignore. They sense contradictions others overlook. Masking protects their sensitivity. It preserves harmony in chaotic spaces. It prevents rejection before it happens. But it also isolates them. It keeps others at a distance, even when they crave closeness. The dark side of the INFJ mind is not cruelty. It is concealment. A carefully managed inner world. Guarded, layered, complex. It is a constant balancing act. Between authenticity and adaptation. Between vulnerability and protection. Between being seen and staying safe. If you are an INFJ, remember this gently. You do not have to be everyone's mirror. Your unfiltered thoughts have value. Your intensity is not a flaw. And if you love an INFJ, create safety. Be patient. Be real. Do not rush their opening. Do not mock their depth. Because behind the mask is one of the deepest minds you will ever encounter. And when they finally remove it, it is not performance. It is trust made visible.